we're like, all right, maybe we'll do it. But Keith and I really like to prepare for stuff. And as we were preparing for this week, we had to go through our journey again. And I gotta tell you, I don't know why we didn't quit. Because we should have. We have every single reason to quit this business. And we're gonna go over those. And we're here standing in front of you as, do you wanna go get the slide up? Oh, this is our family. As you can tell, we like to have fun. But we decided, like, why are we here? Like, we are $50,000 ring earners. We have the 1,000 golden app, which means we sold 1,000 memberships. We are regional managers
That's
here.
as network marketers. That's not through group. That's through recruiting.
That's right.
Us individually selling.
That's through us individually selling 1,000 memberships. That's not group.
That's right.
We don't do group. We'll actually talk about the group because we did do group.
We
but
all,
that's, yeah. Yeah, but well, the overall theme is choices.
It's choices. You want us to do this before I get into the rest.
And it's about choices. We've all had difficulties in our life. We've all have barriers in our life. But what's the reason why we didn't quit? The reason why we're still here in leadership, because we, like she said, we had a lot of reasons to quit, and we're going to talk about them because they're the same reasons that you have. They're the same excuses that you have had that you maybe have felt. You know, so we're going to be human up here. You know, earlier we were superhuman, we were having fun, we were showing you our success, but now we're going to take our capes off and just show you we're human too. We have the same pains. We all go through the same things. Ms. Burns and Mr. Manny coming up here and sharing and being transparent. We're going to continue that. So you see, yes, you're going to get to the ring, but you're going to go through some things too.
True.
I'll skip this one.
So as I was starting to say, so 50,000 K, bronze EDs, 1,000 memberships. We've been on our first year in Legal Show. We walked the stage. We were like, we arrived. This is awesome, right?
There's a little competitive nature that we have, that I have. Because back in 2011 when we joined, there was a Connection magazine that they would mail out to us.
Yeah.
And I looked at it, I'm like, honey, look, there's like 2 pages of directors. 2 pages of like executive directors, you know, like then it gets to like 10 bronze, 2 gold, you know, the numbers.
Yeah.
We're like, I was like, honey, we can do that. We can do that. Let's get in this book. That's what they're telling us we need to do. Let's get in that book. And then at our first convention, Mr. Brian Carruthers came out on stage and said, my first 5 years, I was on stage. So I looked at her and said, okay, that's what we got to do. If that's what he's saying to do, if we want what he has, we got to get on stage the first 5 years. So we've been recognized, even in the last year, we got on stage for being number 4 in the country in production, in personal production.
That's really cool.
Awesome.
And we put this together to show you where we are today because we had to go through stuff to get there. So this all looks good. You're like, wow, I want that. I want that. Right? Everybody wants this. I mean, we want more, obviously. But to get here, it's a lot. It's a lot of work. It doesn't come easy. And my favorite quote my whole entire life has been, don't want what you don't want. So I'll be like, what's that? If you want this, or something like this, you're going to have to want what comes with it to get there.
Right.
So don't want what you don't want. Brian Carruthers, $1 million a year. You want that, right? But do you want everything that comes with it? Will you do it? I don't know. We have people outside that have quit. So obviously they didn't want it, you know?
So our first year, we started in September 2011. So I don't even remember what we made those last 4 months of that year. But the next year, 2012, we made $36,000. And that was, we were still a sign language interpreter. So it was our side gig. It was our Uber. You know, so $36,000 is pretty good. And she was on her way to work once to an interpreting assignment, and she sold 3 memberships in a 30-minute drive. Wow. She was calling her friends. She had a list. She was calling her friends. And then she came home and said, honey, we're doing this full time. And we took a leap of faith. And so the next year, our first full year, $68,000. So that's the success. That's the good stuff. That's the happiness. So the story behind the story, we should have quit this a long time ago. We should have went back to interpreting. In 1999, you heard she was exposed by accident. A deaf person had the membership. She was interpreting. She saw what they paid. She saw the discount they got. It took her 8 years to find it. We should have never been members because I guess it wasn't destined to be, right? 8 years for her to finally have a friend come up to her and say, hey, have you heard of legal? She goes, yes. I've been looking for that for 8 years. Sign me up right now. The person didn't have to do the presentation. They're just, oh, okay. Sign you up.
So just know when people say, oh, I can't find anybody, there's people like me that are waiting, that have heard about it, who want it, who need it. But no, for all those years, nobody told me anything about Legal Shield or prepaid legal. I knew about it, I just didn't know how to get it. So when you walk past by people, they may know about it, but they don't know where to get it because someone didn't follow up with them. Okay? I was exposed by accident. I knew I needed it. I was using attorneys. I was paying full price. I knew there was something out there. Right?
And we all have associates on our team that often tell you, nobody wants it. I asked my mom and my brother, they said no. Nobody wants this membership. We're out there going, where can we get that membership? So there's a lot of people out there, and Legal Shield's having record numbers this last year and this year. So you cannot say nobody wants this membership. There's people like us out there looking for it.
So 2008 was our heyday. We were starting our family. We had Douglas, and I had an amazing business. We were making money hand over fist.
You were doing that. My comedy career was at its peak. I was traveling every weekend. Making $3,000 to $5,000 a gig. So that was our best year. That was like life was set. Like Mr. Manny was saying, that was it. This is the rest of our life. We're just going to make money. We're good.
But he's smarter than us.
Yeah.
Because we never thought it was going to stop. Because it was getting better and better and better, and it just kept getting better. And then we had Marisol in 2010. It was getting just better. We had another child. Our business was booming. We bought that house that I was telling you about, that condo that we had the contract reviewed on. We had a beautiful house. I mean, we had an RV. Everybody dreams about RVs and this and that. I mean, we had a recreational vehicle, the one that you told, that was
Nice sound effect.
There you go.
That sounds like his Series 5 BMW.
So in 2010, after having our second child, we lost our business.
Laid off 40 employees.
We had 40 employees. We were on vacation in our RV at a beautiful campsite, and we got the phone call. The government just changed one piece of this law, where, a regulation where the sign language interpreters that we were providing could not be from home. They had to be in a call center. And me, because I love noble causes, I was a breastfeeding mom, not that you need to know that, but I also hired breastfeeding moms and moms that couldn't work, and I gave them work to work for our business. I had to lay them all off on a Friday afternoon while we were on vacation. We went from making tons of money to zero.
The next month, after paying, because you're a good heart, you've always done this, you paid the employees, whatever money we had left. So we were in debt $120,000 the next month. Because we had to pay everybody. Because it wasn't their fault, they still had families to feed too. And so you decide for us.
I borrowed money, I did everything I had to do to pay our employees, but we had nothing.
Awesome.
And we had a beautiful house, we had an RV to pay for, we had a condo, we had 2 kids who liked to eat. So my
let's go back to this friend, her best friend, who was an associate in 2007, who sold us the membership. I say they never showed us the business opportunity. She says we were too busy. I say they never told me to go to a briefing. They never sent me a video. They never told me about the business opportunity. They prejudged us. They said, you guys are too busy. You guys are doing your thing.
But here's the problem is, regardless if my story is true that she did show it to us and we were too busy, or she did not show it to us, regardless, she showed us the membership, we got it, she never followed up. I saw her every day.
We saw her every day.
Every day I saw her. She was my best friend.
So when this happened, she didn't say nothing about the business opportunity. When our house was foreclosed, 3 days into foreclosure, you told her because she was your best friend. You said, "Oh my gosh, foreclosure." Our car was being repossessed, our little PT Cruiser. She still was an active associate. She never told us about the business opportunity. Your family and friends are going through a lot of pain. Don't hold this back. Don't keep it a secret. You have to tell everybody about this service and about this opportunity.
Okay.
So as you know, as you heard earlier, so I was called because now I had to stop doing performing. I had to go back, hands up, 7 o'clock in the morning to 7 o'clock at night, working for 5 to 6 different agencies, interpreting agencies, including hers. So I was missing out on raising the children. I was working hard. So Legal Shield called and said, will you flap your hands? I said, how much? $40 an hour, that's fine. I need work right now. I need to work. 3 days at $40 an hour. Yes, we're going to have a good week. So, but then we signed up. And that changed everything for us. We're here before you because of the opportunity that we had to sign ourselves up. So I'm interpreting.
I was going to say, we couldn't even sign up on this business.
Signing for all these deaf people. How you got, this is deaf people right here. And when I did this and this, then I was like, wow. No one told me. No one said, hey, do you want to sign up for it? They all knew I wasn't an associate because they asked, are you part of Legal Shield? I said, no, I'm just here to interpret. No one told me still about the business opportunity. A week later, I saw Tony Petrell, who at that time was the vice president of sales at Legal Shield. So he was on stage a lot. So at the Atlanta airport, I'm on my way to a gig. He walks by and I go, aren't you Tony Petrell, the vice president of sales? And if you know Tony, he likes to talk about himself. He was and he's a fellow comedian too, so we actually talked for an hour. And I was like, man, I really like that Legal Shield thing. I think my wife and I would love to do that. At that time, corporate could not recruit. Right. He was in a corporate position, so he was like, where do I sign up? I mean, he didn't tell me either. Now he kept it to himself. I was like, where do I sign up? He's like, my plane, I gotta go buy.
We were looking to sign up.
Wow. So we're looking for the membership, we're looking for the business. And so a week later, a deaf person emails me and says, hey, thank you very much for doing that thing. I said, can you sign me up? And his response was, are you kidding? Right. What kind of training is that? Are you kidding?
Well, Keith is very well known. Some of you know he's very well known in the deaf community. He's actually the I don't like saying Eddie Murphy. Eddie Murphy now, because Eddie Murphy was Raw before, and now he's into doing the whole kitty thing. But that's Keith. Like if you talk to any deaf person, and all of you who have tried to recruit or use us for a three-way for a deaf person, they always go, oh my gosh, it's Keith Wann. I mean, but he's very well known. So the guy thought he was kidding, because he's a jokester, I mean, he's a comedian. Okay. So the guy was like, huh? Really? And we have the emails back and forth. It's kind of funny when we look back. So we couldn't get recruited, and we wanted to be recruited. Recruit us.
Nobody keeps their options open. Nobody wants the membership. We're out there saying, please, we want to be an ED on your team.
But here's the thing, we should have quit then, and we hadn't even started. We should have quit then. We should have stopped. This Legal Shield thing is ridiculous. So this people is ridiculous. Nobody wants us to come in.
They don't want to share.
Why were we fighting to get in? I don't know why. Well, because of the end results. That's where we're at today.
So we sign up. Yay! Our upline for the next 3 levels was deaf. They had no access to the system. They didn't know what to do. Right, what do we do? They're like, next year there's another convention. We'll see you there, I guess. They didn't know about a game plan interview. They didn't know about here's your local briefing, here's your local person to contact. They didn't know any of that. So we just like, all right.
Who do we know?
Yeah, who do we know? Oh, that guy Tony. I met that guy Tony. He was at the airport. Let's look at him. Oh, he's on the weekly show. That's that Tony guy. He's on the weekly show. So I emailed him and said, hey, Tony guy, what do we do? He's welcome to the team. There's a training down in Sarasota. If you go to that, you'll get more information. So we went to a training that was 3 hours south of us.
So hold on a second. But here's the funny part is Tony Petrell was the vice president of sales. We didn't even know any better that we should not just pick up the phone and call him. Hey, Tony, this is Emilia and Keith Wann. We need some help. And he's like, okay. Like it's like someone going, oh, Jeff Bell? All right, let me give him a call.
And going, hey, Jeff.
Hey, Jeff, guess what? I need some help. Right? And that's what we did. Because we had no help. We should have quit. We should have quit.
So these are choices. We had all these choices. So we made the choice again. Call Tony. He told us about Sarasota. I said, honey, I want you to meet this guy. He's really funny. He sings really good. He talks really good. He made jokes. He's going to be down in Sarasota. Let's go down. And they said we have to go down. That's what he said. So let's go. We go down there, he never showed up. He's gonna be here, honey, he's gonna be here. Like, okay, Wendy laughs, this is a nice lady, let's listen to her. So we listened to the fast start training, or basic training, whatever it was called back then. They gave us a little book, and they said, you have to go to your weekly briefing. Okay, finally, they gave us some direction. So we go online, we research around, and we found 3 weekly briefings within a 2-hour radius of us. And in New York, you know, people don't go a mile. That's too far. I'm over Brooklyn here, you're Brooklyn there. That's I gotta get on 2 trains. Right in Florida, we drive. You drive 2 to 3 hours, no big deal. You just drive.
Because it's nice, that's why. But wait, here's the other thing is when we read the information, it says, attend your local briefing with a guest.
Right.
Don't miss out on bringing a guest.
Right.
I misunderstood. I thought you couldn't go to a briefing without a guest. So if I want to go to a briefing, I gotta find somebody.
That's good.
Where you were.
That's right.
I was even after you. I
gotta
bought
say,
cashiers from my Kroger's.
There you go.
I brought a hairdresser. She wasn't even doing my hair. When she came to the briefing, I'll let her do my hair. I'll pay her. Because I have to bring somebody. But we read there was 3. So now I gotta find 3 people every week to go to a briefing.
We didn't know you only had to go to 1. So we used to go to Orlando on Monday nights, Tampa on Tuesday nights, and Sarasota on Wednesday nights. We had the RV. We brought like 11 people. We gotta go. Come on. We didn't know what we were doing. And sometimes that's the best, right?
Right.
But there's a lot of associates say, well, my upline doesn't help me. My upline's not around. We didn't have an upline. We plugged into the system. Tony happened to be the system at that time, but he was telling us what the system was. Go to your weekly briefing and bring guests. And so, another excuse people use is, oh, the briefing, it's no good. You know, every briefing you go to is different. You can come up with any excuse you want to quit this business, because we have. We quit this business 1,000,000 times. So in Clearwater, there was a new briefing that started. We lived in Clearwater. We're like, good, we don't have to drive those far places. This is in Clearwater. This was one of the worst briefings we've ever been to.
Compared to any, the worst.
Like the person didn't even go over the membership or the opportunity. They got up there, and I don't know if he's in the business, and I don't even know who Mark Brown is. I'm sorry, I'm brand new, but it wasn't Mark Brown. But he just got up there and said, hey everybody, my claim to fame is I recruited Mark Brown, and then I just didn't do anything, and I made a lot of money. And I'm like, that's not a good briefing. So I started in sign language. I wasn't even listening to him. I was like, hey, everybody, get to call your lawyer. I had my own little briefing going on over here. Because this was the worst briefing ever. We should have quit because everybody, the hearing people that we brought, heard this gentleman. They're like, this sucks. I wish you were deaf because you would have got a better briefing. So again, that's another excuse, right?
That's another
You have a
excuse.
choice to quit there or keep going.
So we decided we need to have our own briefing.
There you go.
Right? Because I could not leave this business in someone else's hands because they were destroying it. I was bringing people, and they're all telling me no because these people stunk.
Right.
So we decided we wanted to do a briefing, but how do you do a briefing? So call up. How do you do a briefing?
Right.
Listen to one of the leaders they had.
Well, Mr. Nathan Moore and Willie Muhammad out of Orlando, 2 great people.
Yes.
They were amazing. But you know, all of these bad things that were happening to us, we ran into Willie Muhammad. And he was telling us, you guys are awesome. What are you doing? What do you want to do? How can we help you? And he was just helping us. Our upline wasn't helping us. Do you remember before when Mr. Malloy had everybody come up and we were clapping for them?
Right.
That was the only recognition we ever got was from the local briefing because our upline didn't know who we were. They didn't really care. They didn't care, and they told us they didn't care. I'll tell you about that in a minute.
Wow.
And our deaf uplines didn't even know that recognition. So how am I going to get recognition from someone who doesn't even know they have to give recognition?
Yeah, but I do want to clean up though. There are no bad briefings now. The legal shield, that's one thing they've changed. They made it all the same. Because when you used to go, it used to be catered around the speaker and not the briefing. The briefing is the briefing. The information is the same information.
But we learned how to do briefings because there wasn't audio, because we did plug into Orlando. They had a wonderful briefing, they had wonderful trainings, and we would drive every week for an hour and a half to 2 hours for a 3-hour training over there. On top of our briefings that we were going to, that we didn't know we didn't have to bring someone every week 3 times a week. Okay? Because we didn't know. Now when I found all this out, I'm like, oh my goodness, I should quit. How stupid, right? This is stupid. Why did I get fooled? I didn't. It was the best thing that ever happened to us because we went ED like that. Because we were exposing people every week, 3 times a week, with a lot of.
And now, as regional managers, I implore you to ask for this. If you've not heard it yet, Mr. Jeff Olson, Mr. Chris Hughes, they both do the same version of how a briefing is like a Broadway play. How every person has an important role in that. So if you want to have the best briefing, get in that Broadway play and be part of the briefing. Yeah.
So we were trying to do our own briefing, and then at the same time, because these briefings were so bad, Mr. Don Thompson, who now is everyone knows, at that time he was in Florida just running
our
Florida.
RGM,
yeah, that's what it was called before. He was saying, okay, we're going to close down all the briefings and just have one in Tampa. We need an RM. We're in the business a couple of months. I'm like, I'll do it, because I knew I needed to take control.
We didn't know what that was.
I didn't know what that was, and he laughed at me. He laughed at me. I should have quit. He laughed at me. He's like, this is Wann, I'm so sorry, but you have to have a ring. I'm so sorry. You have to be in the business at least a year. I'm sorry. I mean, he gave me all the excuses. I'm like, but I stayed in, and I plugged in, and whatever he did, which he did, he brought John Balcone from Miami, brought him up, who everybody knows John Balcone. He's just absolutely amazing. And then he became our mentor, which is the best thing for us and the best thing for, but I could have quit. I should have. Why are you gonna laugh at me like that? Because it was funny, that's why. I don't know what I was doing. So you can use any excuse to quit, but we didn't, we stayed in. Because this is really good stuff.
So then, so we were doing the networking thing. You know, the first year I had 40 plus months of selling memberships, you know, because I had a warm market. I have a huge warm market. No one here has gone through their warm market. We're in this business 8 years. Last month we're at the Grant Cardone 10X conference, and you know, with Dana Johns was there, and John Maxwell, who spoke to us before, and Grant Cardone. And he goes, okay, everybody, there's an exercise. It's going to say, I'm going to put a script up here. I want you to get out your phone, and I want you to call anybody in your phone book. And I was like, all right. I didn't know who to call, so I called a friend in Brooklyn. Hey, how you doing? I'm at the conference. I'm supposed to be calling somebody. She's like, no, Keith, I'm going to take this serious. So she went through her phone and found Joni in Florida. Called her up, read the script. Hey, what are you doing next Wednesday? Give me 5 minutes. I want to talk to you about something. And the person's like, all right. We've been associates for 8 years. She never contacted Joni. Your warm market is still out there. You'll never go through everybody on your list. Because we have our chicken list. We have the list that we kind of skipped over because I don't want them to laugh at me. Your warm market is still out there. Even if you do groups, you still have a warm market. Like you see Ms. Burns has a warm market. Her team is growing and growing now. So we were network marketers. We said, this is great. But then sometimes you get distracted in this business. You get a Mr. Scott Brooks who came out of nowhere and he got a $100,000 ring because he was making 50 calls a day. Well, honey, that's what we got to do. Let's go do group. That's what you got to do. We got distracted, and I'm not saying group or network and you have to decide. You're going to find where you're more comfortable at. You're going to find where your resources are. We were networkers. And we said, let's try this group thing because I want to be like Scott Brooks. I don't know about working 8 hours making 50 calls, but I want the money that he had. So our first group that you did,
very, very warm market. I knew her very well. She owned a group home. She had 20 employees. I went in, I did the presentation, 17 out of 20.
Yes.
Right? 24 hours later, they canceled. All 17.
We could have said Legal Shield sucks, it's stupid, no one wants it.
Our persistency went down to 74.6. Why is that important?
75.
75 gets you on the trip to Jamaica.
Yep.
Oh.
Guess where I was when all of you were in Jamaica?
I wasn't there. I was
And we're like, oh,
I
they
was
probably
hoping
round
that
up. They probably round up. But
Okay.
as the ring earners have said earlier, they don't change
don't
nothing.
round up.
They don't
If it's
change
602, it's 602. If your persistency is 74.6, don't pack your bags. We could have gotten mad. We
You
should
should
have
have
said,
quit, right?
that's stupid. No. They don't. We worked hard. What are they doing? We worked hard for that.
So you can use that as an excuse to quit. And we had someone on our team who didn't make it and quit the business. I'm like, that's ridiculous. It was an incentive. You didn't have to quit. Right, they didn't. They
You still
didn't
got
have to
paid
do
for
it.
those memberships you sold.
Right.
So then the second group, we're like, okay, this is a huge war market. This is the School for Deaf in New York. They're my biggest fans. They're gonna love me. Get me in front of 500 deaf people. Woo-hoo, Moses, my people. So, practicing. They go, okay, I'll do this. We'll do the half hour. You do a testimony. And right before we get on stage, the principal's like, you got 5 minutes. What? It takes me 5 minutes to do my name in sign language. I was like, so we did a terrible presentation because it was in our head. Out of 500 people, our warm market, 3 people signed up that day. And then she had a couple friends working and said, please, we need a group out of this. Do you mind signing up? She got 2 more people to sign up so we can get a group. Out of 300 people, they should have just signed up. But they, again, we could have said, see, no one wants legal shield. It doesn't work. Even our friends don't want it. The third group, we could get mad at our upline. We have a lot of uplines, so don't try to figure out who our upline is. And we're just making up uplines, I don't know. But our upline dropped the ball. This is with the state of Florida. We had a new associate who was already... He had a great relationship with the state of Florida. And all they wanted him to do was give a comparison from Legal Shield to MetLife.
The proposal, yeah.
The proposal. And that's all they needed to do. They wanted to go with Legal Shield. So we told our upline...
Because this time we learned we needed a field trainer.
Yep.
Right? This time we learned. Okay, so now we know we need a field trainer. We've learned. They dropped the ball. They never sent the proposal.
What?
When they sent the proposal, it was a day late. We lost the state of Florida. That guy quit.
The associate on our team, but the upline's still there.
Right. But now we have a system in Legal Shield where there are field trainers, and we have field trainers in the room. Use them.
If you're a field trainer, raise your hand. Because we don't know the New Jersey field trainers. All right, so there's one right here. You need information.
So there's a system now, and plug into that. We have that. So we have hope. Even though these things have happened to us, we stayed, and we're gonna stay. And now, anytime I have a group, I give it to someone else. I find the field trainer in that state, and I hook them up.
We had a field trainer go back into this one
Yeah.
and get us like 50 more memberships out of that one.
Wow.
Yeah, because they knew how to do it in 5 minutes, right? 5-minute speech ready to go. So again, we had no upline, we had no field trainers. You can use any excuse, but the great thing about Legal Shield is there is a system where you're going to find uplines like Mr. Malloy. You're going to find uplines like a couple other people we're going to talk about that are not our uplines, but they are there to help because they are the system. And now Legal Shield has vetted and given us field trainers that know what to do in those situations. And you have to get over, I ain't going to trust on my list, I ain't going to give them that. You're going to have to get over that 50% on something is better than 3 out of 500. Right? I'll take 50%, I'll take 250 every day and thank Ms. Harden and buy her some flowers. Is that okay, Mr. Johnson? So there excuses. So we had so here is the upline excuses again. Our first couple months, we did qualify for the first trip to Cancun. We were so excited. Yay! We get there and Mr. Malloy, can I name an upline if they're not here anymore? Yep.
Wait, hold on. But we used to get like Mr. Malloy sends out emails to everybody. This upline would send out emails, so we felt like we knew him.
The Kyle Kimbrough newsletter.
We used to get that, and we loved it. We're like, great, we got some information.
Yay.
And then we went to Cancun.
Dirt broke. We'll talk about that.
We'll talk about that. We get to Cancun, and we meet him. We're so excited. This guy sends me an email every week. He sends it to me, right? I go, hi, we're Keith and Emilia Wann, and we are executive directors, and here we are at the trip. And he looks at us and he goes, you're so far down, doesn't matter to me.
Oh, no.
Should I have quit? Probably. But did I? Because I'm here today. We didn't know he company.
Like 2 weeks after Cancun, he was in another company being their front guy.
But you know what? It doesn't matter.
That wasn't our excuse. We made the choice to stay.
Bravo!
We've had our uplines never call us. They never call us insignificant. When, and this is those first 5 years we got recognized on stage, we would walk off stage and our upliner's right there. We would walk by him like I'm making eye contact, waiting for something. No high five, no clap, no attaboys. They're a nice person. They're a nice person. Nice person.
But who we did have behind them is people like Mr. Malloy. Marty Galano ran up one day. We were coming off the stage. We were like, I can't believe that they didn't say hi to us. And Marty Galano comes and takes a picture. Come on, we're New York, man. Let's take a picture. I was like, okay, this is good. And then I have Mike Emilia coming up to me. I'm so proud of you. It doesn't matter that my upline didn't care.
Right.
Does it really matter?
No.
Does it really matter if your upline doesn't call you? No. Don't let that be your excuse. It could have been ours over and over and over and over and over again. Do you want a ring?
Yeah.
Are you going to care if they care about you or not? It doesn't really matter.
And as a leader, then you remember how it felt to be ignored. You remember how it felt to be snubbed, and you become the best upline possible.
It's true. That's what that lesson has given us, is that we really make it our business to help everyone. Everyone. So anybody in this room that knows us, if you're not on our team, and I know you're not on our team because you can hear the sound of my voice, really, it doesn't matter. We're going to treat you like you're part of our team because I know someone did that for us.
Right. And that
A lot of
includes,
people did.
let's give it Mike Emilia. Great person. Let's go with Mr. Malloy first, because we became aware of Mr. Malloy because one time after meeting Mike, which he'll give you that story, he's like, oh, come to my team breakout, all right. So we show up to this team breakout, we're like, yeah, this is awesome. And he has Mr. Malloy speaking at his breakout, and he does this great introduction of how Mr. Malloy's on my team, but he's a great person, and we kind of went, oh, okay, so it's not just, we're using our team, we're doing this, that we recognize there's great trainers sometimes outside of our team. We want to bring them in to benefit everybody. So that's how we were exposed to him. So by the time we got to New York, we're like, we know you, we see you train, you're hot. Yes. So, hot, I can't say hot?
Yes.
He don't know.
Way to go.
And so again, it could have been an excuse of like, oh, they only help. Because I've heard, we've never been a part of another networking company. We've heard, though, they're very territorial, they're very team, like if you're not part of their team, don't show up to the stadium. We've heard that. We've never experienced that in Legal Show. No. Every leader said, how can I help you? And everyone meant it. So then, so we're living in Florida, and we're like, oh, we don't know what to do. We're going to briefings, we're doing some things, we're having some success, and we meet Mike Emilia at an event. And then, go ahead, that's your story.
Well, Mike says to me, anytime you need some help, let me know. Now, I did not know anything about really teams because we were experiencing other people, because I didn't expect anything from my upline. I just expected everybody else to help me because they didn't help me and everybody else was, right? So one day I'm going to do a group in Miami, and Mike had told me, if you're ever in
Melbourne, is it?
Melbourne,
Melbourne.
call me.
Melbourne, thank you. So we're on the west side of Florida, he was on the east side.
We live in like the Tampa area. Melbourne is here, Miami's down here, all 4 hours apart.
Wow.
So I do this group, and I'm like, well, I'm on this side of the coast. I'll give him a call. Mr. Emilia, by any chance, would you like to have some coffee? I have some questions for you. I need some help. I'm stuck at a certain position and I need some help. He's like, sure, come on over in a couple of hours. I'll be available. I'm like, okay, great, because it'll take me a little bit. I'm in the middle of a group. I was 4 hours away. I didn't tell him that. So I start driving. I'm like, Keith, oh my God, I'm going to Mike's place and I don't know what to do. And what do I ask him? He starts telling me what to ask him. So I'm driving 4 hours. He's telling me, ask him this, ask him that, ask him everything. I get there, and I'm like, well, I call him and I tell him, listen, I'm running a little bit late, because he thinks I'm like down the road. Because I wasn't going to tell him, I'm going to drive 4 hours to come talk to you. I wasn't going to tell him that, but I had the desire to learn so much that I was going to drive 4 hours to meet this millionaire that is willing to help me. He was willing to help me. So I drove the 4 hours, and I sat with him. Actually, we ended up not going to have coffee. He invited me to the house. Went to the house, and he let me sit on some of his meetings, and I spent like a good 3 hours with him.
Wow.
I never told him until 4 years later that I had done that. And it was funny because he sat with me and he told me everything, blah, blah, whatever. I mean, I still have all the notes. I was like, I have a big, thick, I mean, everything he said, every word, I was just writing down everything. And I just love him.
Yeah, he makes
He's my legal shield crush.
Steve Emilia is mine.
He has been just so generous with us. I mean, just so.
He's actually, and we're doing a Super Saturday tonight for our deaf people. We do it on Zoom, we're doing it online. Mr. Malloy was our guest speaker last month, and tonight is Mr. Mike Emilia. So when we're done here, we're going to run home and do a Zoom Super Saturday for our 75 deaf associates across the nation.
Awesome.
He really is the best, and it's funny because we were in Cancun again. I think we went on an incentive trip, and he was talking to somebody else about being downline neutral. And he was going on and on. He's like, oh, and Emilia, look, Emilia Wann, she's so great, she did this, and she came to my house, and I talked to her, and she took notes, and this, and that, and, you know, luckily she was in the area. I go, can I tell you something? And I told him I actually drove 4 hours. He was like, I wonder why it took you so long. But I mean, that's just with all the other with all this other stuff. We have people like Mr. Malloy. We have people like the Emilias. We have Tony Petrell. We could have used this all as an excuse, but we didn't, because we were hungry. We knew that we know what this business can give us, right? It's the reason why we're standing here today. It's the reason why during the briefing I said I want to make $100,000 next year. Or do I want to use this excuse? What do I want? What do you want? Do you want to use this as an excuse?
So we also have life. Life happens to us. Life happens to us. We had our house in foreclosure. We talked about repo. Her mom died, as the whale story we told you about. Her mom was the caretaker for our children. So once her mom passed, we had to go back to taking care of our children. We couldn't trust anybody. I broke my leg. We got sued. Cancun. We on this trip that we went to Cancun, we were dirt broke. We had no money.
$8. We had $8.
$8. Couldn't even tip the pilot on the plane. So we had all these excuses. We had a director on our team. Her best friend quit and joined another team. Sit out 6 months ago. Yeah, you know what? Our team, our upline, they're not fun. I want to join a fun team.
Oh.
That's what spoke to her. Which is funny though, the reason why she was director is because I kept giving her memberships. I kept doing it. I was more invested in her, and she just wanted a fun team. She didn't care about the advancements.
Wow.
And then we had an ED leg. We had to make us go bronze. We had a deaf person hit the ED, which was awesome. And we're at a Brian Carruthers training. He goes, I want to go say something to Mr. Carruthers. I'm like, okay, I'll interpret for you. We go over there, and he signs, you're nothing, I'm going to beat you some. I'm going to beat you, I'm going to make more money than you. Whoa! And I'm having an interpret. I was like, what? He's deaf. Actually, he can't hear me. Mr. Carruthers, you're an inspiration to me. I wasn't going to say what he was saying. Brian's going to look at me and go, what are you saying? Oh, he's telling me it's him, it's him, it's him. So we had that excuse. So this person hit ED and that's all they wanted, they quit. So you're going to have people on your team just quit for the silliest reasons. You got to make the choice to keep going. We've had people tell us, don't recruit deaf people. You're recruiting down.
Oh.
They forgot. You're going to have people tell you things like that. They forgot my parents are deaf. I'm recruiting up. That's right. We just hit, as an organization, the 5,000 memberships. So we've only done 4,000 memberships.
And again, you know, I mean, it kind of sounds like, oh my gosh, this is terrible. This is There's no reason to quit. No reason.
Oh, we could have quit, because remember that associate we had that was buying iPhones for everybody? Or he said, hey, if you sign up and you get ID theft, you'll be in a drawing to win an iPhone. And so we had an associate call and say, hey, where's my iPhone? Or what are you talking about? Oh, that guy said if I sign up, you guys do a drawing for an iPhone.
Wow.
Their contract was terminated by legal shit. You guys, we do an iPhone thing? No? Okay. Terminated them. We had a director buying memberships. Like he would give them $10 gift cards for them to go get ID show. And so that was a huge chargeback. Wow. We should have quit. We should have said, this sucks, this is stupid. The whole scam thing that Mr. Manny talked about. We've had associates on our team all of a sudden sell a small business plan, an ID theft, a full family, and we're like, congratulations, who is it? Like, I don't know. Come to find out, it was a scammer. They knew how to play. They signed up as an associate. They knew if they hit all these things, they would get the bonus money, and then they quit. There's a lot of people out there that will join your organization without you knowing, get that bonus, and quit a month later. So we had that huge chargeback. That made them out for like a month.
Which is what Mr. Manny just said before, is like, know your numbers, look at the board, look at your statistics all the time, make sure, because we caught that right away. And we told corporate, and they're like, yeah, we're on it.
Just congratulate everybody on your team for every single thing they do. They sell one membership, you are like Mr. Manny. Yeah! We've had PBRs. We've had people come to our house. One person. Everyone wants this membership. So every ring earner is talking about this. Every leader, you'll hear talk about that. Just because you have a PBR once and no one shows up, congratulations. Yeah. Yay. You are moving forward. You're making the choice to be successful.
So
we got like about 3 minutes left. And Miss Burns talked about this, and that was an event that we almost again quit Legal Shield because we were mad because we were hitting $68,000 a year. We were over the $50,000 mark. Legal Shield said, "Hey, congratulations! You guys are in a run for the ring." Okay, skip that one. You guys are in a run for the ring. It's a new program, and we're like, "Yay! We're running for a ring! Yay!" And then after 3 months, they go, "Okay, anybody that's in the run for the ring program, you're gonna get a $1,000 bonus, except for the group of people we recognized right away."
Wow.
So we didn't get a $1,000 bonus, but we're like, hey, but you said we're all running for the ring, and why just because we got recognized, so we should have quit. And then when it was time for them to reveal that $50,000 ring, we were at the 48 mark. Oh! We were at the $48,000. So they all went up there, and you know what? Choices though. We made a choice to stand up and to clap loudly for Ms. Burns, the police, for the people that were up there getting it. But we're human. We went home and said, that's not fair. For about a second. Then we made the choice to keep going, to go on. You want to touch a note? That good?
No, that's good.
All right. So why did all this happen? Why are we still here? Because we're coachable. We're willing to learn. When we joined the Legal Shield by force, we made you guys sign us up as associates. We could have said, she could have came in here and said, you know what, I'm a successful business owner. I run my interpreting agency this way. She would have failed. I could have came and said, hey, I know what to do. I'll just tell deaf people waka waka, a joke, and they'll sign up. They didn't sign up because I said waka waka. They said, that's crazy. The reason why we're here before you is because we are good students. We left our expertise out the door and came in and said, we're willing to learn, we're coachable, we have a desire to succeed. And you want to end on that opportunity?
Oh, yeah, well, like Keith was saying before, is the fact that I would never have gotten in front of people. But because of this company, the personal development has transformed me into a new person. I'm just not the same person. And because I was coachable, I had a desire to learn. I had a desire to succeed. I still do, and I'm still learning every day. So please put that, it's all about mindset. Because all of these excuses could have knocked us out, should have knocked us out. But because we made a choice and we're personally developed, and we could have been mad for all those people that got the ring, could have been mad that we didn't get the $1,000, could have been mad for blah, 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 everything we just spoke about. But we decided, we made a choice that this is the vehicle we're going to make our dreams come true. And that's what you have to do. You can quit, go back to your day job, or you can succeed and take control of your life. Amen. Like we did.
Want what you want.
Want what you want, exactly.